This is the second page of your practice for 1.1. Choose one property from the word bank at the right for each problem. So remember what we're doing here is we're comparing, well, what happens on the left compared to the right. Now you're going to have an equal sign in between the left and the right side, but what's different between the left and the right side? Well, on the left, there's a multiplication of 1. And remember, that's a special thing because that's the identity property of multiplication. So, identity property of multiplication. I'm going to abbreviate it that way. Number 2, what changes between the left and the right side of the equal sign? Well, it's the same numbers being added, they're just switched in order. And so when it's two things that are being switched, it's the commutative property of addition, which is the case here. If there were 3 or more things being switched with the order of addition or multiplication, it'd be associative. So this is the commutative property of addition. All right. Number 3, the left and the right side don't actually look the same or even close to the same. We have 3 plus negative 3 on one side and then equals 0. I mean, I agree with the statement that they're totally true, but what happened here? Well, there's addition, and we're adding 2 things that take us back to our addition identity. And so that's like inversing or undoing. So that's the inverse property of addition. To undo a positive 3, you add a negative 3. Number 4, on the left side I see A plus B plus C with some parentheses around the B and the C. On the right side I see the same variables being added together, or terms being added together, but I see the parentheses have switched. So now the priority or the order has changed. So we're just changing the order of addition, but there's 3 components or terms that are being added here. So this is going to be the associative property of addition. Number 5, what has changed? Well, I see some parentheses, and 6 is getting multiplied with everything in the parentheses. And so then that operation, that multiplication is done over here. That is distribution, or the distributive property. Number 6, 5 times 1/5 equals 1. That is true, I agree with that. So they took a 5 and they multiplied it by 1/5. And so they're doing multiplication, and when they did the multiplication, they were able to get a 1. That's a fancy thing. That's a good tool to use in algebra. That is the inverse or undoing property. Undo multiplying by 5 by multiplying by 1/5, or its reciprocal. So that's the inverse property of multiplication. Number 7, we have 8 plus 7 equals 7 plus 8. So we have the same 2 terms, only 2 terms that are being added, and the order is switched. So that's the commutative property of addition. Number 8 looks kind of similar. We have 2 things that are getting multiplied, and the order is getting switched. So that's the commutative property of multiplication. Make sure you make it very clear whether you're adding or multiplying. Make your symbols clear. At number 9, we have 3 things that are getting multiplied together on each side of the equation or the equal sign, and the order is switched. So that's going to be the associative property of multiplication. Number 10, we're saying 7 plus 0 equals 7. Why can you do that? What's going on here? We're taking 7, we're adding 0 to it. Remember, 0 is a special number when you're adding because it doesn't change anything. So that's the identity. We're just taking some number, adding something to it that keeps it itself. It's the identity property of addition.